There's something in your life right now that you're avoiding that could be the exact thing that changes everything. When I was in high school, I joined a National Honor Society. And as, weird and trivial I think as that whole entire thing is, and how it's just kind of some odd status symbol that people use throughout high school to put on their resume for college, I had a requirement to get into National Honor Society that said that I had to do 12 hours of volunteer service. And I was a relatively, reserved kid in high school. I didn't really hang out with more than just like the 3 or 4 friends that I had. I didn't do much other than just sit around all day and like smoke weed and drink with my friends, right? So we didn't really do much. I didn't have much volunteer experience. If any, I had 0. And I was like, how the hell am I gonna get 12 hours of volunteer experience? And mind you, I had to do it, I think, within a week, because that was the requirement to like put in the resume to get into National Honor Society, or to like keep your National Honor Society running. So I had a week. I had waited too long to get the 12 hours. And I remember my step grandpa had an opportunity for me to do volunteer service. And I thought it was stupid. I didn't want to do it. It just made no sense to me. I was like, volunteer service, what's the point of this? Like, I'm just gonna be sitting here for 12 hours, like with my thumb in my, whatever, trying to get this done so I could get into National Honor Society, right? And I didn't want to do it. I felt embarrassed. I was scared. And I ultimately ended up going to it, obviously, because I had to. And I met a guy who was the only person that I sat with at the volunteer experience that I had. And it was at this movie theater, and he was the cashier behind the movie theater. He was like in his 70s, and he was super cool. Like, after sitting with him for an hour, he's like, look, man, like, stay for 2 days and I'll sign you up for the full 12 hours. Like, you don't have to stay for 12 hours. It's all good. I was like, this is awesome, whatever. Started talking to him more because he was a cool guy, and I noticed he's constantly on his phone. And I asked him, like, what are you always doing on your phone? Like, this guy's 70 something. I'm like, it's, some small, it was 2017 or 16 at the time, some small, phone that had a screen on it. But I'm like, what is he doing? And he's like, oh, I run a recycling business off my phone. I'm working right now. The only reason why I have this job and it's volunteer work is because I have nothing else to do with my day because I make so much money. And that moment changed the course of my whole entire life. I didn't want to do that volunteer experience. I thought it was so dumb. And I thought sitting with that guy made no sense, right? Ultimately, I ended up getting so inspired by that moment that I decided to, number one, write my college essay based on that experience, because I didn't know what else to talk about. I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I knew is that working on your phone sounds really cool. At any point in time, you can take your phone out of your pocket and work. So I wrote my college essay on that. I got into business and entrepreneurship because that's what seemed like, the idea of working off your phone was. And ultimately, through that, I learned how to build businesses on my phone. I had the motivation to start using my phone to work and become a real estate agent and become an entrepreneur and use my phone to build my business and grow myself and reach out to more people. And ultimately, the point of that is that experience that I did not want to do, that I thought was stupid, changed my whole life. If I didn't do that, if I was the stupid 16 or 17-year-old that I was at the time, and I said, you know what, this makes no sense, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do the National Honor Society thing, I'm not going to do this 12 hours of volunteer work, it's stupid, blah, 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 teen angst, right? I would have never been in the position that I am today with a growing real estate business, growing myself through, content creation and through using my phone to connect with more people and build myself as a person and build my life and build my career. So, that's the story for me. And there's been a lot of other times that I won't go through just for the sake of making this video too long about, where I didn't want to go and I didn't want to do it because I was afraid of risk or embarrassment or failure. And I thought that it wasn't going to make sense. And I always end up walking out of that experience like, whoa, I'm so glad I went. And it almost always is a good thing. But the thing is that this experience, specifically with the volunteer work, changed the course of my life. So 3 things that I want to say to you before I end this video. Number 1, your brain avoids failure. You are wired in your brain to run away from risk, run away from embarrassment, run away from failure, and try to protect yourself from all these things. You don't want to be rejected as a human being. So keep that in mind. You have, like, your subconscious is literally telling you don't do it because you're running away from these things. So keep that in mind and work against that. If you know that something is going to be good for you, but you're just feeling like you're going to get embarrassed or rejected or fail or it's going to be scary, just do it. Like, the worst thing that actually happens is that you don't like it and you leave. You know what I mean? And then at least you know that there wasn't something crazy that was going to change the course of your life hiding in that experience. Second thing I want to say is that growth really lies in discomfort. Okay, I had a lot of times in my life where I was extremely uncomfortable with the next step of my career, of my business, of my life, of all these things. But every time I took that jump, it was like a awakening for me. Like, it created a whole new chapter of my life, right? So if you want to get to another chapter of your life, take that risk. Don't be afraid of discomfort. That's where the growth lies. If you're never uncomfortable, you're never going to be able to win. You're never going to be able to grow. It's like the no pain, no gain, right? Think about it like the gym. You're never going to get good at running unless you run 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, and you struggle through it, you suffer through it, you sweat your ass off. That's what it is. That's how you grow. And if you don't want to face discomfort, then you don't want growth and you're going to give that up. So keep that in mind. Number 3 I want to say is that one decision in your life can change everything. Everything. If you actually just take a minute and stop, think about the decisions that you're making in your life. You could change your life in 1 minute just by making a simple decision, good or bad. So keep that in mind. You want to change your life, you want a new chapter, you want to go out there and win, make a decision that's going to change your life for the positive, right? The last thing I want to say to close this off is that the life that you want is almost always on the other side of the thing that you are avoiding. So do not, by any stretch of the imagination, think that, avoiding things that you know in the back of your head are most likely good for you, but you don't want to do it because you're afraid of rejection, failure, you're afraid of people looking at you funny, embarrassment. All of these things, they don't matter. They don't matter. You are your own story. You are your own main character. You know what I mean? You got to think about the people around you in a sense. Take care of your people, take care of your family, take care of your loved ones, your significant others. But outside of that, you are your own person. Build your own story, live your own life, have your own movie. There's no way that you could get around it. You know what I mean? If you want a good life, you kind of have to have a little bit of main character syndrome. So with all that being said, that's my video for today. I just felt super inclined to make this because this video, or this topic resonates with me very well. When I was brainstorming for YouTube videos, I was just thinking about all the times in my life where I've done something I didn't want to, and I've been on the other end of that experience, like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? So with all that being said, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Go ahead and leave a comment if this helped you today. Subscribe to my YouTube video. Subscribe to my channel and like this video. And if there's anything else that I can do or talk about that you think would help you, please leave it in the comments below. If you think that I should continue to make videos like this, leave it in the comments below. I love comments so much, especially when they're people who are saying, hey, great job at this video. I changed because of this video. That's really what this whole channel is about, is to take my experiences, document them so that somebody else out there in the world, no matter where they are, who they are, can take this video and use it to change their life. So with all that being said, thank you so much for making it to the end, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.